What is going on, guys? DBG here, and today we are going to be ranking the best shooting guards in NBA 2K22 MyTEAM. So, lads, before we get on to, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 280,000 subs by the end of this month. Right now, we are about 3 and a bit thousand away, like 3.15k away. If you guys are new to the channel and enjoy this content, subscribe. We upload more MyTEAM content here than anywhere else. Here's nowhere where you're going to get better tips on who the best cards are, especially if you are on a budget. So, lads, first up, Dantley. He sucks. Adrian Dantley sucks. There's no other way to say it. Adrian Dantley is shocking. He is absolutely shocking, lads. I cannot stress that enough. The guy is terrible. Base 18, not the worst release, but he's pretty bad. Bingo Smith. I'm going to C tier for Bingo Smith. He's not unusable. He's really not unusable. Like, I honestly might put in Dantley at the worst list, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to put Is Dantley the worst player on this list? I think an argument can be made. Dantley getting the worst list here. But Bingo is... Bingo's, again, not the greatest player in the world, not the worst player in the world either. So, I C is fine. He plays a bit of defense. He'll hit wide open shots. C is fine. Duarte, I'm going to put Duarte in D. Duarte is not as good as Bingo in terms of movement, but he will play good defense and he will shoot really well. I prefer Duarte's release to Bingo's release. And Duarte is just an objectively fine card. He's objectively fine. CJ McCollum goes a tier ahead. So CJ McCollum, his movement's pretty good. His release is pretty good. For a free diamond, you can't knock CJ McCollum. Like, you cannot knock CJ McCollum at all, lads. His movement is good. He's just small. Like, in terms of his actual game, you can't really knock it. It's just, again, being small is a bit of a problem. Being small is most definitely a bit of a problem for him. But look, at the end of the day, he is still a B tier player and he shoots the ball well and plays good offense. Cliff Hagan, I'm with Cliff Hagan B. I think Cliff Hagan's better than CJ, but I do think they probably belong in the same tier. I think maybe I might move Cliff up to A. When it's all said and done, Cliff Hagan might get moved up a tier. He's kind of, even though he doesn't have range, he still shoots a bit from deep. Defense goes just a little bit undersized. His release is chicken as well. He's just all around solid. I'm going to go low A. I think this is kind of like the order of the cards, definitely so far. No, I think Clyde's better than Cliff. Clyde is better than Cliff, lads. So, yeah. I'll go Clyde and A, because Clyde's like 6'7". Clyde's got a better release. You can give Clyde every single badge in the game. His dribbling, not the greatest base dribble style, but again, he's got some decent badges and he dunks relatively well. Clyde's a card that if they give him like shifty dribble style later on in the year with his release, I'm going to be so high on. I'm really going to be so high on him later on in the year, because right now this card he's just fine. He's solid. Sexton. I think Sexton is slightly worse CJ McCollum. I really do think Sexton is just worse CJ McCollum. I think he's 6'1". He does have a long enough wingspan. He doesn't dribble, in my opinion, quite as well as McCollum. His release is slightly worse than base 4. But he's an all-around, he's a good card. And he is a good card, don't get me wrong. So, I'll go C, but it's a reluctant C. Like, I might move up to B. D'Lo, I don't like D'Lo at all. Like, is Duarte... I think Duarte probably belongs in E tier at this stage in the game, even though Duarte is not bad at all. I will put D'Lo in D tier. D'Lo is a 6'5" player. He can play point guard. His release is, iffy at best. I think calling his release iffy is maybe, just maybe, giving him a little bit too much credit, because it is pretty rough. His movement is good though, and he's tall and can play to 1, so I'll give him D tier. Danny Green B. Danny Green really solid. Like, again, Good length, a good jump shot. He has got base, base 13 jumper, which is pretty nice. He's got half clamps, he got goal range. He's a really solid 3-and-D option. He definitely isn't A tier. Like, I initially, when I first saw him coming out in token market, I was like, oh my god, this guy's going to be incredible. Now I'm like, he's alright. He's alright. He's usable. I'm not the highest on him, but I'm also not low. Griffith, at this stage in the game, Griffith's E tier. I mean, Griffith was really good for his time. Like, we can't forget, like, this was a free diamond card that 2K gave us in week 2 of the game. It was either week 2 or week 3 on a Monday. It was a really early time in the game, and honestly, Griffith was a good player, a card that a lot of people were really excited to have. So I liked him. I didn't like that card, but not for now. Oh, Derozan's so ass. I mean, I'm telling you, we could very easily have gotten a pink diamond DeMar DeRozan on Friday, and he could have been the #1 card in this entire game. DeRozan has got Treyburg base, which in my opinion is one of the best releases in the game. I know people like Ty aren't that high on it. I'm still super high on Treyburg base. And for me, it's still one of the easiest releases to green in the game. DeRozan also has quick dribble style. The problem with this DeRozan is he can't get quick for his step. All of his good badges are finishing. But because he can't get quick for his step, you can't really get to the basket really to finish with him. He also can't shoot at all. And his duo, even with his duo, he still can't really shoot. So yeah, he's going to go into worthless here. Deshaun C. Deshaun Stevenson. I think C tier is a fair spot for Deshaun Stevenson. Decent length, good release. I like Deshaun Stevenson's release. His overall game is solid. I'm not going to say he's spectacular or anything, but I have definitely used him quite a bit in clutch time, and he will play defense. He will hit wide open shots, and I mean, that is definitely enough to get in the C tier. He's a similar level player to Bingo Smith. Booker B, A, B. In the right hands, Booker can be A because he's dangerous. That release is dangerously fast. Like, he can hit some crazy shots. Defense isn't the greatest, but as time's gone on, I'm starting to sour on Booker. I'm starting to figure out more how to guard him. I don't really fear him as much coming up against him as I did when he first came out, and especially the other Devin Booker. Other Devin Booker struck fear into a lot of people. Donovan Mitchell. Now, Donovan Mitchell, I think he's Colin Sexton. Like, I know he can't play the 1, but he is probably better than Colin Sexton in terms of just overall game. He had his time. He really did have his time. He carried me in my my one competitive run where I made it to the final 4, I think, of the first 2K Legends European tournament. And Donovan Mitchell was the guy that carried me. Obviously, his time is not now. I think maybe he's probably closer to D tier than he is to B tier, but I think C is fine. Doug Collins is C. He's solid. He's really solid. He's not going to do anything spectacular, to be completely honest. Like, he's going to hit wide open jumpers, which is to be expected from most players in this game. Like, we're in 2022 now. It's expected that the vast majority of players in this game can hit a wide open shot. So, like, he can do that, and he can play a bit of defense. So, look, you can't really knock him. And we got Derozan Petrovic. I'm going to go A tier, and people are going to probably kill me for putting Derozan A tier. I really like Derozan. I think Derozan's movement is good. I think his jumper is good. I think just overall, pretty much everything about this card is good. It is good. Like, he's a player that's not going to really have any weaknesses in game, or other than his interior defense, and he can shoot from limitless. So yeah, he's A tier. Duncan Robinson. At this stage in the game, I'm sorry, I'm putting you in worthless. I can't put you at the same tier as Duarte and Darryl Griffith. He was good for his time, though. He really was good for his time. Dwayne Wade, D. You might say, oh, Wade's better than Bingo Smith. I prefer Bingo Smith to these guys. I think Wade's D or C. I think because it was... Oh, I don't know. Is C tier? I think C tier is probably best for him. I'm going to move someone down. I'm going to move Deshaun Stevenson down 1 tier. Yeah, I'm going to go like this. Dylan Windler. I'm putting Dylan Windler in E tier. Dylan Windler is he's Klay Thompson clone, if you guys don't know. He's got Clay release on quick, Clay Thompson upper, and he's got the exact same dribble moves as Clay. The only difference is Windler is left-handed, and if he had range, he would actually be up 1 tier, at least 1 tier. He's really solid. Defense lacks a lot, but I mean, there are a lot of times I've used this guy in limited and clutch time. He's actually been pretty solid. Eddie Jones, A for now. Actually, not A for now. He's going to be A. He's not in the top 5 2 guys in the game. He's most definitely not in the top 5 2 guards in this game. So I'm still high on this card though. Really good shooter, really good defender. I don't really think he has many weaknesses in the game. Evan Fournier. So Fournier, I think I'm going to put Fournier in D tier. Fournier's release is something that I'm pretty comfortable with. It's the same release as, what's his name? Exact same release as Sprewell. Exact same release as Landry Fields, base 4 with that same upper. His movement is okay. His height is decent, but I think D tier is probably the right spot for him. Wade B. This version of Wade is B tier. The other version of Wade might be an S. Like, he's really good. The difference is that this Wade gets no shooting badge. Well, you can give him shooting badges, but he can't get like, has a low 3 ball. So if you give him the shooting badge, he still has like low shooting ratings. I think the Evo Wade is significantly better. I think maybe you could argue this Wade in A tier. I think I'm going to put this Wade in A actually, to be honest. But he's very much at the end of his A tier. I prefer Eddie Jones to him. Livingston. I don't actually mind him. He's going to go C tier. His release is like slower base 7. It's by no means as bad as people are saying, but it's not very good. I will admit that. He's a switch everything player. Like, he's a budget niche player. Like, if you have him, you have him evoed, got that done quickly, and you just want a top point guard, Livingston's fine. Like, that's really what Sean Livingston is there for. It's not like he's gonna be out there doing much in game on the offense or the defensive end. So I think a fair spot to put him is right down here in C tier. That's probably the best spot for Livingston here. Okay, so then we have got Buddy Hield S. I don't care. Buddy Hield is so freaking good. Like, I've been using this Evo Buddy Hield. Like, I loved the non-Evo Buddy Hield. I was like, sure, I don't really play much defense anyway. Nah, like, this Buddy plays such good defense. I put him guarding ball, and he does a great job at that. The best shooter in the game. I'm standing by. I will go to my grave saying this Buddy Hield, as of right now, is S tier. He is an S tier 2 guard in this game. I don't care what anyone says. Buddy Hield, for me, at this moment in time, is S tier. Luka Doncic. I'm going to move some of these guys around because I just realized it's like a lot of new players are here. We got Luka. I mean, he is, isn't he? He just is. He's probably on the end. I'm only going to go 5. Luka Doncic, in my opinion, is not Buddy Hield. But, like, I like this release. I like the way Luka... I don't mind the way Luka moves in game. I think his overall stats are good. If he was a point guard, I think a lot more people... He would be probably the #1 cone point guard in the game. Like, he would replace Magic Johnson in that, like, switch everything. And he'd probably replace Penny Hardaway. But for some reason, even though he plays point guard in real life, Luka Doncic cannot play point guard in this game. 2K being 2K, I guess. But I think Evo Luka Doncic with that defensive upgrade, he's barely an S tier, but I think he is an S tier. Hal Greer, C, I guess. I don't think he's good as Sexton. I don't think he's good as Donovan Mitchell. I don't even think he's good as Livingston. So go Hal Greer and C. Quickly, I'm sorry, at this stage in the game, you're worthless. You were pretty good for your time, though. Jalen Green, C tier. Jalen Green at C tier is a really, really nice player. So he can score. Jalen Green really can score. So if you're just looking for a flat out scorer and you're like a Rockets fan and you just like Jalen Green, he does it. He does it at a decent rate, but I mean, there are flaws to him. There are definitely flaws to him. Crawford, A. Crawford is most definitely an A tier shooting guard. He's one of the more fun cards in the game. One of the most fun cards in the game. Sig's almost perfect. Trey Burke release. His player build is a little bit skinny, but he has a decent wingspan. Not the greatest defender. The problem is that you have a choice. You can either badge him up to make him decent on defense, or you can badge him up to make him a better shooter. I would strongly advise that latter, because you'll have a lot more fun just not playing defense with him. Just give him like one defensive badge and give the rest of them in shooting. But that is a big problem with him. Harden. Oh, lads, I don't know. Because I don't think Harden is as good as Buddy Hield. But he's also better than Luka Doncic. Luka get down to A. I don't think, for me, out of those three guys, it would go Buddy, Harden, Luka. So, and I know there's bound to be at least three guys I prefer to Luka. And there's list because I know Kobe and Clay are two of them. I don't know who the last one is going to be, but I assume there will be a last one. And like, again, Harden may end up losing his spot as well. J. Rich, A. I prefer Eddie Jones to J. Rich. Most people prefer J. Rich to Eddie Jones. He's solid. He's not Peyton level. Peyton's still an S-tier point guard. But he's not he's not by any means a bad limited reward. Like, as I say, like, Wilt was a really good center for his time. Yeah, he really has been the worst in limited reward, hasn't he? Although, that's a good sign considering last year we got like Ewing and Iggy for season 2 and 3, so better than both of them. Jaylen Brown. I mean, I'm gonna have to probably put Jaylen in A. Who am I moving down? I don't think I'm moving anyone down, honestly. Jaylen Brown's kind of at the edge of A tier. A good shooter, a good defender, a good dunker, a good dribbler, or a decent dribbler. Slash dribble style is a bit of a problem, but I mean, Jaylen Brown is a pretty decent card. So now we're going to just throw in some of the lower tier guys. Because again, we're through 16 minutes. Like, the point guard tier list took a lot longer than this. Like, the point guard one literally, even though we had less players in it, that took like 40 minutes. Okay, so our worthless tier. Our worthless tier is going to include JJ Redick. I don't care what anyone says. JJ Redick is not even as good as Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson is the most likely player to move that are worthless. Jim Paxson, he stinks. Jim Paxson was a 6'6" guard who wasn't even very good when he came out. He was like, he may be the worst diamond token award, and the diamond token awards include a 59 3-pointer small forward Larry Keane. Like, the diamond token awards include Tom Chambers, and he still might be the worst. So yeah, he's gonna go into worthless in my opinion. Who else belongs? Oh, Manu might be the worst player on this entire list. He really might be this. I love the other Manu. I'm not a fan of this Manu right here. Rudy Fernandez. He's the worst. Sorry, Rudy Fernandez. He's got big dribble style, but he's not Manu bad. Rudy Fernandez. I don't know what the hell 2K have done with you. Last year they gave him the Pro 3 behind the back and they gave him Steph Curry release. This year they made him a clone of a gold power forward named Trey Murphy. And he has the exact same sigs as that bum Brandon Jennings, who was in worthless tier on my point guard list. So I'm sorry, lads. Rudy Fernandez. Like, I wish Rudy Fernandez is good. I don't like Rudy Fernandez in real life. I went to see Real Madrid a couple of years ago with Luka and saw Rudy Fernandez playing for them. And I watched the Spain Olympic team. I would have been so happy to have seen Rudy Fernandez getting Olympic gold this year, but unfortunately, Team USA kind of turned it on in the second half against him. It was looking like he had a good chance of getting gold, but nah, he just didn't. And 2K nerfed him, so getting the worthless there. Trying to get any other guys that are worthless here? No, I think we're looking like E tier and above. I mean, actually, screw it. Marquez Johnson getting the worthless. He's not very good. He's really not very good. Not a fan of him at all. Not a fan of him in the slightest. I think he's a very, very weak card. We got Jordan Clarkson. I think Jordan Clarkson can really move. I think his release is really good. His stats and badges just aren't good enough. I think they kind of nerfed him a little bit because they were hoping that he would get a Evo. And he ended up not getting an Evo. It was one of those real life Evo things where literally only two of them in Roko and Batum end up hitting their stats that night. Then we have Jordan Poole. Or no, Dr. J, we clicked first. A. Dr. J. I think this might be one of the most obvious inclusions in any tier. Is I just realized I haven't scrolled up. Is A tier and Dr. J. He's one of the higher A tier players. I think I'm going to start to move around my tiers a little bit. So I'm going to put him down in D tier, D'Lo. I'm going to move Livingston down 1 tier. I'm going to move Mitchell down a tier. Move Doug Collins and Jalen Green down a tier. Move Danny Green down. I'm going to move CJ McCollum down. I'm going to move Jaylen Brown down. Derozan Petrovic down. Dwayne Wade down. And I'm happier with this. I'm happier with this list right here. Because we don't have too many players in A tier right now. Poole. Poole's going to go C or B. I like Poole, but he's not as good as these B tier guys. Poole can move. Poole can shoot. Was a really solid Amethyst point guard. Him out quite a while ago, and again was one of the moments cards 2K gave out before 2K forgot what moments cards were. Kelly Oubre Jr. I'm gonna go low C because I like this release, and I know some people hate this release, especially if there is someone reacting to it. He hates the release, but Kelly Oubre Jr. is such a big player build for 2 guard, and as someone who likes his release, I find it hard to not put him in C. But hard not to put the guy in C tier. Like, you could argue D, definitely. I don't think you can really argue B, but I think C tier is fine. Huerter B. Huerter can just score. He just scores. He's got Trae Young base, shifty dribble style. Not the greatest defense in the world. Not the worst defense in the world. 6'7". And he can move. He's got the shifty dribble style, and he's got, or it's either quick or shifty, it's one or the other. And he's got that Trae Young release on quick. I'm still a huge fan of Huerter. I think B tier is the right spot for him. Clay S. Absolutely no-brainer. Still, for a lot of people, the number 1 2 guard in the game. So many people are comfortable with his release. Again, I'm not as high on him as someone like Kobe because I use Clay. I just don't rate that release a lot. I guess why, if you're asking me who I prefer, Clay or Buddy Hield, I'd say Buddy Hield, even though I will tell you for a fact Clay is better than Buddy Hield. Kobe Bryant. Kobe's going to go high B. I like this Diamond Kobe. I don't know why I didn't put him in my top 100 list. I still put him on that similar level to a Jaylen Brown. His overall movement is pretty good. His overall shooting is pretty good. There's no real weaknesses in this card. He's just nowhere near as good as either Kobe. Dwayne Wade. I think I'm going to go S. He's a really good shooter, especially at that point guard position with his secondary. And he would have been point guard. He would have been S tier on my point guard list. So I think it's only fair. It is only fair to put him into S tier here. Dwayne Wade can shoot. Dwayne Wade can kind of dribble. He plays absolutely elite defense and is one of the best shot blocking point guards or 2 guards in the game, and he can honestly play at the 2 with that shooting boost. So Dwayne Wade's gonna go S. Kobe S. Okay, I accidentally brought Danny Green to S. Kobe S. There's Danny Green. Danny Green's in C. But yeah, Kobe's probably the best 2 guard in the game, unless you're playing Kawhi Leonard down there, who I think is better. He's probably the best primary 2 guard in the game. His dribbling's really good. His shooting's really good. Got range. He's got clamps. Again, essentially shifty dribble style or quick. Again, it's one or the other. There are people that can tell the difference. I'm not one of those people. I just know that the burst is the same. And Kobe is no-brainer S tier. Like, the no-brainer S tier players are really Kobe, Clay. And these 3 guys, as well as like Luka, some people might debate Jason Richardson, are all up for debate. Korver. See, you can give Korver some badges and he actually becomes a not terrible defender. His shooting is very, very solid. Base 17 on quick. It's the weird one. I just can't shoot with him, and I don't know why, because I like that release. I just can't shoot with Kyle Korver. Like, I should really like Kyle Korver, but I don't. Like, at the end of the day, you can only like you're gonna like some cards, you're gonna dislike some cards, but I will never, for the life of me, understand why I don't like Kyle Korver, because I really should, because I like that release. Spreewell. I'm gonna put Spreewell in B. I'm not that high on Spreewell. Again, I got the card. He's alright. He's like a better version of Evan Fournier. He's a better version of Landry Fields as well. Defense is decent. Shooting is decent. Honestly, B tier might be a tier too high. Yeah, screw it. He's going to go C tier. He's not as good as Derozan. He's not as good as Dwight. He's nowhere near as good as Dwayne Wade. He's nowhere near as good as Kobe Bryant or Jaylen Brown. Yeah, he belongs to C. He definitely belongs to C. Lou Dort. This Lou Dort I'm putting in D, and this Lou Dort I'm putting in C. I don't notice that much of a difference. I know there's a few half defense badges, but I've used both Lou Dorts and I barely notice the difference. Offensively, they're basically identical, and they're both good enough on defense that I probably can't take advantage of what the diamond gives you over the Ruby. But Ruby for me is a card that I've used a whole bunch of times. Like, I use him anytime there is a limited requirement that he fits into, and it's Ruby or lower. I will use Lou Dort 100% of the time. However, I've never seen anyone use Diamond Lou Dort. Luka Doncic. He's not worthless. He's really not, but he's not far off it. It's a lot of gold badges. I don't even mind that release. He's good. Manu Ginobili. I don't know. I'm going to go B. I'm going to go B. Like, personal bias aside, he's probably B. I love Manu. He's not brilliant. I think B is fair. I think B is the most fair spot for Manu Ginobili right now. Because he can move. I shoot well with him, but I know his release. I know most people hate the release. So I'm going to put him in B. But again, if you think he's better than B tier, be my guest. You fight the case in the comments. If you guys want to fight people in the comments and say Manu's A tier, I'm cool with that. I'm all for that. That's where I would put him personally. But definitely going in A tier is Marcus Smart. He's not quite Dwayne Wade. His handle's really good. His defense is really good. He's definitely best to be applied at the point guard position. He's a really good shooter. He can get away playing at the 2 because his wingspan as well. Movement, he doesn't get the greatest ball handle stat, but he does have unpluckable, as well as he has great dribble style. Marcus Smart is still one of the best point guards in my team. Still easily a top 10 point guard, so he's going to go into A tier. Okay, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. They're the same card. C. I don't mind Michael Jordan. I really don't. I'm sorry, Kevin. Huerter's down in C. Huerter's down in C. Yeah, Huerter belongs in here. I don't mind Michael Jordan, but he doesn't really play much offense. Whereas someone like a Huerter plays no defense, Jordan just plays no offense. So I'm going to put him in C tier. You know, I have had quite a bit of success with Jordan. Michael Red, A. He's not as good as these guys in S. That's the simple reason I love Michael Red. I think his movement's good. I think his defense is really good. His shooting's really good. I don't have him, and I'm annoyed. And he would most definitely come in as my backup shooting guard, because I'm currently running Buddy and Manu. He would come in over Manu. As much as I do love Manu, Michael Red is better. Can shoot from really deep. Defense solid, good dunker. Nothing wrong with this card. It's just, in my opinion, Buddy Hield's better. Money Mitch. I mean, at this stage in the game, he's D. If we're putting Kevin Huerter, and he's like a worse Devin Booker. I'll go. Screw it. No, I'll go C. Doesn't really play much defense, but he does have one of quick or shifty. Yeah, C tier is fine. He's good in offense. Monte Ellis, he stinks. He's E. I don't think he's quite worthless, but he really is not good. Like Monte Ellis, his movement is iffy. He's a 6'3" player who has never played the small forward in his career, but for some reason can't play the point guard position. His release this year is not Steph Curry's, which it was last year. So, E tier. Paul Arzon. Now, I'm going to put like a caveat. You can add 4 badges to Paul Arzon. If you add the right badges to the dude, he is one of the best 300s in the game. If you add the right badges. His release is so chicken. His defense is meh. But he dunks well as well. I actually do not mind this card at all. And I think he's on the lower end of B tier. I think with the right badges, Paul Arzon, as much as I've like slated Paul Arzon, I just slated him because he's missing the most expensive badges. If you're willing to pay 55, if you're willing to pay 50k for Paul Arzon, that card is going to be, it's not going to be worth 50k because Marcus Smart exists, and some other cards exist, and Buddy Hield exists and stuff like that, and John Wall at 20k exists. So like, you'd never pay it. But if you're willing to pay 50k for him, he's B tier. Ray Allen, low A. He's a shooter. That's really it. Rex. I'm put Rex in C tier. Again, some people really like Rex. I like him as a shooter. I think his movement leaves lots to be desired. I've used him in drafts. And he's had to carry my team, but he still hasn't been particularly great. His movement is mediocre, but base dribble style still not the greatest. Can't play the point guard at 6'4", so I think C tier is probably fair for Rex. Caldwell. I'm gonna go high B for Joe Caldwell. I could easily go A. He's a really good dunker. His movement again is a bit kind of handicapped by the fact that he's got slasher dribble style. His release is good in base 22, but it is quite slightly on the slower end. He will dunk on everybody as well, though. His defense is really solid. He just does everything at a pretty decent rate. And for me, he's kind of like a poor man's Dr. J. So I think B tier is probably fair for him. I'm going to have B tier for Rip Hamilton. He's just solid. He doesn't do anything particularly good. He doesn't do anything bad. If you locked in for Rip Hamilton, I mean, you could probably use this guy until like March and he'll still hold his own. Richie Garan. No D tier for Garan. He moves. He really moves and he has a decent release. He's a player that I used early on in the year and I really liked him. I stopped using probably a little bit too early. But I stand by the fact that he's not terrible. D tier. Sam Jones, B. Sam Jones is like worse Joe Caldwell. Rest in peace, Sam Jones. But he's like a worse version of Joe Caldwell. He's got that base 22. His defense is pretty good. He's at the half quick first step with fundamental dribble style. And again, in terms of weaknesses in a card, he doesn't really have many. So I think B tier is a fine spot for him. Terrence Ross. I hate him. Worthless. I think he sucks. I think he absolutely sucks. Because I don't want to overlap. You. Like, you're good. You're good for certain challenges in TT offline because you're low overall. He's slightly out of worthless. He's very, Duncan Robinson at this stage, very slightly out of worthless, despite the fact he's a week 1 Sapphire. Or a 1 week after launch Sapphire. Terry Rozier. Now, I don't like this card as much as Sexton and stuff, but I think... No. If I've got Donovan Mitchell in D tier, sorry, Terry Rozier getting the D tier. I know he played the 1, he has a long wingspan, but I mean... And his release is pretty good. He's like a... Like, if I've got Clarkson in this tier... No, Clarkson's better than Terry Rozier. I stand by that. Clarkson's better than Terry Rozier. Yeah, D tier is fine for him. I'm going to go E tier for him. No, I'm going to go D tier for Troy Daniels. I think Troy Daniels with that goal range extender with that super easy release. And his speed is like 88 as well. He's a little bit undersized, but like Troy Daniels is not a bad player. He's really not. Tyler Hero, he's just worse Kevin Huerter. He's essentially the exact same card as Kevin Huerter, but he's like shorter with a shorter wingspan and I don't think he has the... He may have Pro 3 behind the back, but he's just shorter with shorter wingspan than Huerter. He's like a just much worse Kevin Huerter. Walter Davis, I'm going to go C tier. Where did I put Walter Davis? I don't know where I left him. I don't think he made it all the way to C tier. No, he didn't. There we go. I think he's like a complete poor man's T-Mac. Like all the same animations. His release is brilliant. If he had a quicker shift, he'd be a lot better. Or if he had range, he'd be a lot better. His defense is mediocre. He's just mediocre. He's bang in the middle. And Zach LaVine in B tier. Doesn't play much defense. Really, really good in offense. He's like a better version of the Kevin Huerter card. And again, he dunks on everybody. So, yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. So we got, for my top 5 is Kobe, Clay, Buddy, Harden, and Wade. Then A tier, we got the likes of Red. We got Doncic. We got Jason Richardson, Jamal, Marcus Smart, Ray Allen. B tier, and that little bit lower with likes of Caldwell, Sam Jones, the old Kobe, the other Dwayne Wade. And C tier, the Diamond Wade, Huerter, Jordan, then D&D. Some okay cards, and then worthless tier is pretty worthless. So anyway, yeah, let me know which ones you agree with, which ones you don't. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.